Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram at Candy Washington. Let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington, and thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me. As you can see, I'm rocking our new Love sweatshirt. That's right, our Love collection has launched, so go and shop in the description box or head over to candywashington.com to pick up a hoodie, a sweatshirt, a candle, a mug, just anything that really resonates with you from our Love collection. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and like this video and share with a friend and join our community. If you're listening to this across one of our podcast platforms, also subscribe, follow, and give us a 5-star review. It really helps to keep the lights on, guys. So without further ado, I am super excited to introduce our guests for today's episode, which is Jack Nekhala and Michael Nusinkis. They are the creators of Bed Scrunchie. It's an exciting product that solves that annoying problem of having loose sheets, and it gives you that luxurious, comfortable, relaxed look and feel as if you are sleeping in a 5-star hotel. So with that, welcome Jack and Michael. Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for the intro, Candy. We appreciate it. I would love the t-shirt. It's definitely all about the love. You know, I always say, if you don't love it, don't do it. You know, you got to love it. Otherwise, there's no point, right?
Exactly. All
Sure.
about the love. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. So before we dive into Bed Scrunchie, do each of you just want to tell us a little bit about yourselves, like your story, what led you to being an entrepreneur, and then we'll get into the purpose and passion behind creating Bed Scrunchie.
Absolutely. So, Mike, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean that's a rather long story. Me and Jack have known each other for like 20 years. He's always been a salesman, business type guy, and I was always working on computers, selling things on eBay. So our story goes back to how old were we?
Yeah, I mean, the story goes back to, when we were 16 years old. I mean, now I'm 38, so I'm getting old. I mean, I didn't hit 40 yet, so I'm all right. But
too fast.
No offense to anyone out there who's 40 and listening, but, I'm still under, so I'm okay. But yeah, I mean, so our story goes way back, to when we were 16 and, when eBay first started and Mike was like, hey, man, I'm selling these books that my dad, gave me or whatever. He doesn't need anymore. And I was like, that's cool. I have some leftover stuff, some junk too. Can you help me sell my stuff on eBay? And and the relationship started like that. So there was some interest, and then ever since then, I mean, we've just been from one thing to another, and then eventually, we started a linens company in 2004, Luxor Linens. And we built up a very great company. We did really well up until 2013, 2014. The company's still running, but it's not doing what it used to do. There's a lot more competition in the market, and then we realized that. Yeah. And I think that, leading up to Bed Scrunchie, I realized that, we had to do something different, right? So that was in the back of my mind, along with the experience of actually facing a problem with the loose fitted sheet, right? So there's a couple of things brewing in my head at this time, right? And I'm really fast forwarding because otherwise I could talk about this for the next 4 hours easily.
No, it's okay. It's okay. And I'll have some questions for you guys too.
Yeah, for sure. So, fast forwarding up until 2014, 2015, Luxor Linens was a powerhouse. We literally started out of my parents' basement. We outgrew the basement. We didn't borrow any money from anyone. We started really organically, just one unit at a time. And we got up to like 13 million in sales on our highest year. And then, it was only a matter of time before all the suppliers and all the people who provide us with the inventory started figuring out, like, where are these guys selling all this stuff? And, yeah. And it was at the time of Groupon and Living Social and all of that hurrah.
Yeah.
And, 2012, 2013, Groupon and Living Social, that was the thing, right? Everybody was, shopping on there and dying to be on there. So we kind of pioneered that. We were the first of any kind of products to be featured on those platforms. So we were really able to leverage, that in the beginning, especially they had very different payment terms in the beginning. So we were able to sell products that we didn't have, get paid for them, and then go source the product. I mean, now that's impossible. You cannot do that. So that really helped us. Yeah, it really helped us so much because it helped us really climb out of the nest, right?
Right. Yeah. So what I heard, I'll just repeat back to everybody who's listening and watching. The kernels that I got from your story was that you found someone that you were able to collaborate with, and you found a great partner. You saw a need in the space when it came to the linens, and you just really started your entrepreneurship from there. And then once that market got a little oversaturated, you were able to pivot by solving a new problem that your consumers had that maybe other brands weren't solving.
Problem. You're on the money with everything, but it's not a new problem. This is an old problem, actually.
An old problem. Okay.
It's an old problem. It's a new solution to an old problem, but all the solutions that existed out there, they just weren't good enough, right? I mean, we're talking about, your traditional sheet suspenders where you have to go to the corner of each bed and then do each corner one at a time.
Okay.
So if you have a bad back, you got to lift your back. You got to do a couple things at the same time. The Bed Scrunchie works it attaches to your bed sheet first, right? So you can sit on the couch and hook it up to your bed sheet and take as long as you want to take while you're doing it, right? And then you just put the bed sheet on as you normally would on your bed. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes it great than the other products. And that was the pain point that I was suffering, is because I have such a heavy mattress, right? And trying to put on the existing solutions that existed out there, I had a hard time. And I'm not a small guy here, I'm 5'11", like 220 pounds. I mean, not small. So but it's really difficult to lift a mattress with one hand and then kind of like finesse the sheet and then kind of clip those corners together. It can become a task.
Right.
So I didn't end up doing.
Yeah. No, I think you guys have a great product, and we'll get into that. But I think the more interesting thing is like the actual story of the two of you and the story of the brand. So how did you guys know that working together would be a fit? Like, if there are people out there that want to start a business or they have a great idea and they want to go into business with someone, how do you know that this is a good person to take that leap with, to take that journey with? And Jack, did you want to maybe take this one?
Well,
yeah, sure.
I mean, getting a business partner, they say there's a saying, getting a business partner is the easiest thing you could do. It's getting rid of one that's hard, So you definitely want to think hard. You definitely want to choose wisely. So, I mean, it's important. It's kind of like building a team. You want to make sure that your partner is filling your weaknesses and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think filling the weaknesses also goes back to the Bed Scrunchie itself. You found a weakness out there that was in the market, and your product fulfilled that weakness. It was the answer to that. And you guys behind the scenes were telling me a pretty cool story about one of the Kardashians. So do you want to fill in our audience on your Kardashian story?
Yeah, so that was we were actually sitting here in Jack's basement, and we were working, just doing the grind. And my wife calls me, and she's like, how did Kourtney Kardashian find out about the Bed Scrunchie? I was like, I don't know. So we go on her Instagram, and her brand Poosh, they wrote a really nice article about us that says, get this really cool new invention that makes your bed look like a hotel. And it was really nice to see that. It really gives you some validation.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. It is really cool that someone will use their platform to authentically and organically shout you out. Like, that's
for sure. And that was
what you want. Yeah.
That was the coolest part.
And I think that's more validation that the Bed Scrunchie, is just a product that is suitable for all types of people of all different types of classes, no matter what part of the world you're on, rich, poor, high income, low income, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, everybody can relate to being bothered by a loose bed sheet or feeling those wrinkles beneath their feet when they're trying to sleep. And I think with the pandemic, a lot of people are suffering from sleep issues. A lot of people are having trouble with sleep. It's been reported, several times in several different places. And, that's no surprise. I myself, also suffer from sleep issues, and you toss and you turn, and you're thinking about stuff, and everybody's schedule is all out of whack, with working from home or taking care of kids, and so I think sleep is a real hot topic these days. People are definitely feeling restless, and they're searching for it. And when they see the Bed Scrunchie, it makes perfect sense to them. So I wasn't really that surprised, Mike, actually, when Push featured it, because it's like, who doesn't need this, right?
Yeah. So how did you come up with the product design of Bed Scrunchie? So for us listening or watching, can you describe what it looks like, or you can even show us if you want?
Absolutely. So I actually have one here next to me, and the Bed Scrunchie. How I came up with the design, I started kind of answering it in the beginning, and what happened is that after purchasing the solution to solve my own fitted sheet dilemma, and putting that thing on, it was, like I said, it was too heavy. The mattress was really heavy, and I couldn't put them on one by one. And I didn't even end up putting it on. I threw it to the side, and then in our warehouse and office facility, we do have some sewing machines that we use, to make samples and do other types of things. So I took the product that I bought on Amazon. I forgot about it for 2 days, and then on my way to the office on a Thursday, I think it was, I took the stuff with me, and then I started experimenting. I started cutting and sewing, and I was like, okay, what if I do this? What if I get a rope? And what if I? So I think it was like 2 days after that, I think I had a solid idea, and I started prototyping it. And I showed Mike. I was like, Mike, what do you think, dude? Like, I got this name, Bed Scrunchie. I got this idea. It looks cool. He was preoccupied with all the other stuff. I don't think he paid that much attention to
he
it.
went into like mad scientist mode. He was like,
I was convinced that this was going to be the next thing,
Take it out of the box so we can really see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you're showing us the box.
So to make this one invention, obviously there was there were several inventions. Like this buckle is actually an invention for the invention, right? Because these two bands, right, they come together and they meet inside this buckle and they get screwed in and the rope comes out. So it's like I had to invent this buckle, and I had to invent a part that would make this, in one shot, right? I have a machine that pulls the fabric, the rope, and the elastic all together, turns it, and spits it out into this. So everything about this is made with love. That word on your shirt, right?
Well, I think it's made more with intentionality, right? So every part of
and love. I mean, obviously, if there's no intention, we wouldn't do it,
Right. Well, what I meant is that like every part of the Bed Scrunchie is intentional. So like that like plastic part you were showing, like it serves a purpose, that elastic part serves a purpose. So each part of it is meaningful, is intentional to make the Bed Scrunchie work in order to, solve that problem of this loose, uncomfortable sheets. And you can have that sort of, fitted, luxurious, comfortable, relaxed sleep experience that, as you said, we are all searching for and we all want. So that's what I meant by like each piece is intentional.
That's well
said. I think is great. Yeah.
I think that's well said. Yes, definitely. Yeah, everything here serves a purpose.
Right.
There's nothing on here just for looks purposes. Yeah, everything definitely serves a purpose and some sort of reason.
And also, just to add to this, the Bed Scrunchie is like a big belt. It's like a big belt for your bed, So just like you wouldn't.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Jeans without a belt, you shouldn't sleep without the Bed Scrunchie,
Exactly.
Absolutely. What are some of the challenges that you guys have faced with, launching your products, building your brand, working with suppliers and all of that, building up an audience, brand awareness? So what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced as entrepreneurs? And then how are you able to overcome them?
Well, I think both of us will be able to answer this question. I think I had some challenges. Mike had some challenges. Mike, what kind of challenges did you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, just beginning to sell a product and when you have an idea and you want to validate it to the market, how do you know if your idea is good? The first thing you're going to do is turn to your friends and family, and you might have some haters. So you have some people that tell you your idea is not good, and don't let that stop you. You know what I mean? You have to validate it for yourself. And there's a few things that you can do. If you think that your idea is unique enough to the point where you can patent it, like we have patents on this, so this is fully protected. So if you think your idea is unique, you can go on a government website called uspto.gov, and you could, and you could search, different keywords about your product and see firstly if something like this does exist. And the other advice and tip I could give you is before you even get to, making your product and manufacturing it, you could actually try selling a prototype, put it out there. If you know how to sell on Shopify or if you know how to sell on eBay, put out a listing and try to get some actual sales on your idea before you even have it. The worst thing that could possibly happen is you'll gain some customers, you'll call them, you'll cancel their orders, you'll refund them, but you'll gain so much insight as to how they found you or why they bought your product or invention. So that's one of my tips.
No, I love that. So what I heard from that was, one, if you do have a great idea or a great product or a patent or a business that you want to start, protect it, get that trademark, get that patent, get that copyright, whatever it is that you're doing, make sure
you
that
want to validate first. You don't want to you don't want to come up with an idea and go run and go.
Well, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you have it, you want to be able to protect your intellectual property. But as I was going to say, before you get to no, it's okay. Before you get to that part, like you said, you want to make sure that you validate that idea. But I was going to add to that. I would even almost get some type of protection for it even before that, because if you put your idea out there or you put your prototype out there, what is there to say that somebody else isn't going to get it or they're not going to be inspired by it? So I would say find a way to protect it as you can. But yes, of course, you want to ultimately be able to do that market test, make sure it's socially viable, get that social proof and validate it. But I don't see anything wrong with wanting to protect yourself up front and on the back end. But again, I guess it just depends on your type of business, what the product is, and if it's viable or not. But I'm thinking more from
too, money, financial, right? I mean, it's a lot of money to do these protections. So as somebody who's just starting off, there's different things you can do. I mean, maybe a trademark is doable, right? That's not going to be that expensive if you have the name lined up. But when it comes to utility patents and provisional patents and stuff like that, you're going to spend cash. So I mean, it's sometimes it's not even that. I mean, we have our patents, of course. We have 4 patents, but if you're testing and showing a light test or like a survey. We did Survey Monkey?
Yeah, we did some stuff. We did some market research.
Some market research and stuff like that. That you can do probably before really protecting the main idea, because you're going to spend $2,000 to do that. Minimum.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's good. That's good information to have. That's good guidance to have. That sometimes in the beginning, you don't have to go straight to protection. You can go to getting the validation. And then once it's validated, then go to protecting it if cash capital is an issue.
Exactly. Plus, too, it could, trying to get the protection could be a distraction from execution too. And
that's a really good point.
You want to get too wrapped up with that, and you're holding on to something so close over here. But if you hold on to it so close over here, then you can't really tell anybody about it. Then you can't really figure it out. So there has to be something in the middle, you know what I mean? Something between what you're saying and what I'm saying. You don't want to be too careless and loose with it, because somebody can easily swipe it. We were going to go on Kickstarter. We decided not to go on Kickstarter. And even though we did have the proof the patents and stuff like that, we still decided not to go against it because you will be copied. Just like when you see products on Shark Tank, they get featured, they get copied, even with protection. So sometimes you can't avoid it, right? So you just got to make sure that you are the best and that it's a good product and that people are leaving you good reviews, because those things you can't make up, right? You can't hide those things.
Yeah, you can't. I think to me, I think the biggest thing is the customer experience, right? Like, how does the customer experience your brand or your product, but across all touch points, even the buying experience. What does the website look like? What's the customer service behind it? And then the actual getting the product, does it work? Does it deliver on what the brand promised? So I definitely agree that each touch point is very meaningful. You can say all these things, but if the product doesn't actually deliver, then I think consumers and your audience will definitely see that and they'll experience it. And now with social media and Yelp and Reddit and Twitter and all of that stuff, they have a platform to now share that review, whether it's good or bad. So do you ever take that type of feedback, whether if you get a review that's maybe a 2 or a 3 and they have good feedback for it, but it's maybe not the best in the best light? Do you take that into account as well when you want to get validation and you want to tweak on stuff?
I read every review every day on every platform.
He obsesses over it.
I do, because it is feedback. It's like people are telling you. Sometimes they will leave you, a 2-star review and say, we're about to make a change right now. A lot of people are complaining that, they wish the Bed Scrunchie came with more clips. Right? It has 8 clips, and it's enough for the corners. And some people are saying, we wish we'd have 2 more so that we can adjust, do the sides. Even though, with the 8 clips, you can do it, but you just have to, do some maneuvering and maybe move the clips around and find the sweet spot on your bed, literally, because each bed is a little different, and you might have the sheet maybe a little baggy on that bed in a specific region, but maybe on a different bed it's not that baggy. So it all depends. But we decided, hey, let's do it, right? Let's include the 2 extra clips. So our next run, we manufactured 2 extra clips, and we're updating it, and we're updating the instructions, and we're updating different action. Yeah, we're literally like right before our podcast. That's what we're working on, updating the instructions, and because I read the feedback and I read the reviews, and the reviews say like, hey, I'm having trouble putting it on. Okay, well, why are you having trouble putting it on? So try this, and this. So I'm updating tips and tricks. So I think it's really important to read your reviews and try to follow and see if you can notice a trend. If 10 people are complaining about the same thing, most likely it's probably something you should look at. All right.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's also a testament to the both of you as being entrepreneurs, but also having humility and kind of checking ego. So I think sometimes people who build businesses, they're so married to their idea and they're so married to their product that they take any feedback as just like negativity or as like a hater or things like that. But sometimes that's your actual most valuable data, is those like 2 or 3 star reviews, because that's showing you the opportunity to enhance your product. So I think it's great that you guys do that, and it's a testament to like your own ability as men and as entrepreneurs and as business owners to be able to do that. Because I know a lot of people who are not able to take constructive feedback and then pour into their product to provide something even of higher value to their consumer. So I think that's a great lesson for anyone, whether you're starting a business, have a business, want a business, is to be able to take that constructive feedback, pour it into your product, and then provide a higher value. So I love that you guys do that. Are there any other insights or guidance or wisdom that you would want to pass on to other people who either want to start a business, they have an idea, but they might not be sure, how to start or where to start?
Jack, you want to chime in on that one? There's so much.
I'll go back to the love thing. Like, if you don't love it, don't do it. Otherwise, you're gonna be wasting your time. And like, it's really important to have passion when you're doing something. Otherwise, you'll fizzle out, right? It's just like a flame. You turn on, and then it runs out of gas, and then the flame is gone. So if you love it, then the flame will stay on. Yeah, it might get weak at some points, but it'll come back. It'll come back when you have more energy or whatever the case is. But the thing is that most people, if they don't believe in something and they just do it just to do it, and then a wantrepreneur or whatever they call those guys, right? Wantrepreneur. you gotta really want to do it, right? And then
Never heard that.
Wantrepreneur.
I guess I made it up. Maybe
Tongue twister.
So
you made it up.
So yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
that's really what it's about. Really, I mean, you got to have that passion. The passion creates the drive, and the drive creates that motivation and that momentum and that success, and then it just kind of all builds on top of each other.
Yeah. And I'll say from listening to you guys and hearing your story, what I took away from it was, if you're going to go into business with someone, again, it's easy to go into business with someone. It's hard to get out of it. So be mindful and conscious of who you go into business with. Make sure you have that chemistry, that communication.
And go all in. I wanted to add to that.
Okay. Yes. And go all in. But make sure you have that chemistry and that communication ability and that partnership that you can build from. And I think listening to you, I think Jack has his own level of strengths, and then Mike has his level of strengths. And then together you form a very solid, strong partnership, and you leverage each other's strength in order to create a viable business and product that delivers to your audience and consumer. So be really mindful of who you go into business with, because that's a big choice. Go all in.
Like getting married.
It's like a marriage, right? And then the other thing I heard that you guys say, that you were early adopters, right? You got onto Groupon, you got onto Living Social, you got onto eBay, and you were able to really leverage those platforms, level what was trending. So you were early adopters on those, and you were able to really solidify yourself on those platforms and in that niche. And then once you realize that the linen company, okay, now we're in a market, now it's a little oversaturated, instead of just thinking, okay, well, this is it, this is what we've plateaued, road. Instead, you thought, well, there's an old problem out there that's still out there. What can we do to now solve that, solution? There's an old problem. Here's our new solution. Here's the Bed Scrunchie. And then once you had that idea, and you did the product design, then you were able to then, and I'll concede to this, I think you then were able to validate it, through either social, getting early customers, seeing what their feedback was, seeing what it worked. And then once you're able to then validate your product, you then want to protect that validation. That's when you want to go into that patent mode, that trademark, the copyright, the IP, or whatever it is, to make sure that you are now protecting your validated product or patent or product, whatever that you're going to put out there. And then after that, what I also heard that you guys were able to do was really take constructive feedback, take those 2 or 3 star remarks, and instead of just dismissing them or not listening to them or thinking it's just negative, you're able to take that feedback constructively, pour back into the product, create a higher value product, and a higher value added product for your consumers that way. So it seems like you guys were able to pivot, you're able to diversify, you're able to really listen to your customers, what their pain points were, and deliver on that and continue to build. So I think you guys shared a lot of great insights on, how to build a business, how to be viable, how to be sustainable, and also how to stay relevant. You had Kourtney Kardashian shouting you out. Like, that's a huge relevancy point. Bed Scrunchie is extremely relevant, so I think you guys did a really great job on building a really cool product.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited for you to try it out. We're excited for the viewers to potentially buy one and try it out. And we look forward to your reviews, everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you have any parting words of wisdom for us, whether it's about the Bed Scrunchie, whether it's about building a business or entrepreneurship, or just anything you want to leave us with? Actually, before you answer, I forgot a point that you guys actually made too. Passion. You have to also be passionate about the product you're putting out there, and you have to have a purpose behind it. And I think that's a really great lesson for all of us out there, whether you're starting a business or not.
We started with love and we're ending with passion.
Started with love and end with passion. I love that. So with that, do you guys have any parting words for us?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, with that, definitely go visit us on bedscrunchie.com. It makes a great stocking stuffer. You put it on the tree, and you can pair it with a pair of sheets. You'll make somebody's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa.
Or Kwanzaa. I think it's a good New Year, New You gift as well. Going to the new year with a little bit of
a perfect gift to get somebody when you don't know what to get somebody, because there's a lot of times where you want to get somebody something and you don't know what to get them, and the Bed Scrunchie is perfect because it's one size fits all bed sheets. There's no colors. There's nothing to think about, right? And you're making somebody much more comfortable. So I think that's great.
I love it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching and listening, everything will be linked in the show notes and the description box, where you can go follow Bed Scrunchie, buy a Bed Scrunchie, gift, and give. So with that, thank you so much, Jack and Mike. And until next time, everyone, be well, take care of yourself and each other.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go.